Well, the first thing people need to realize is who the oil business is. If you go out to a random group of Americans and say, name an American oil company, I'd be willing to bet most of their minds go to Exxon or Chevron or a company like that, when nothing could be further from the truth. 83% of your oil, 90% of your natural gas that's produced, and more than 90% of the wells that are drilled by roughly 9,000 independent producing oil companies that average 12 employees or less. That's the American oil industry. And so when you look at the crash that happened here a couple of years ago, it wasn't the majors that it hit. It was those ma and pa companies. But the majority of oil is produced by ma and pa companies. And so when that crash happened, it created an opportunity for people that know the industry to position themselves like you never had a chance to before. What we did see coming is, regardless of whether you like President Trump or not, that's irrelevant, because what he did by increasing our oil production to the levels that we were producing, he changed the entire power structure of oil. For 70 years, OPEC has been basically the cheap bottler. All of a sudden, we're producing so much oil that they really didn't have a say in what prices were. And so really what we saw, for lack of a better term, is we saw an economic war being engaged against our shale industry. We saw Russia and Saudi Arabia. We saw them flooding the market with oil, pushing the prices down. We figured they'd try to push it to $40, $45 a barrel because most of your shale companies are highly leveraged. Most of your shale companies need at least $50 a barrel to pay their bills. And so if they could push it to $40, $45 a barrel, all of a sudden, a lot of these shale companies are in trouble. We thought it'd take 12 to 18 months to play out. And then all of a sudden, COVID came. And it took that 12 to 18 months, and they crunched it down to 30 days. And that culminated on April 20th when the market scrapped. And when you go back and look through American history and string together all the crises and all the economic crashes, in every case, there's one or a group of people that come out of the other side looking like Jesus. And when you string their stories together, they really have two common factors they share. The first is when the crash happened, they were liquid. They had cash in hand and they could make a move. The second is when their opportunity presented itself, they had the courage to push their chips in the middle of the table and make a move. Well, once that oh shucks moment was passed, we kind of looked at each other and said, you know what, this is what we expected to happen anyway. And so when everybody else is kind of tightening their sails up and pulling them in to ride out the storm, we opened ours wide open and started making acquisitions.